Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Skills Center. My name is Celeste Roberts. I serve as the co-founder and CEO of the Skills Center. We are a sports-based youth development organization that uses the power of sports to create change in education, health, and workforce for young people ages 3 to age 24. The space you're in currently is a collaborative impact model made up of 5 nonprofits working together to provide services for young people. Our goal is to help them to develop purpose, accountability, and a path to lifelong success. Welcome here. If you ever have the opportunity or the time on a tour, please reach out to us and we can make it happen. Our space, just briefly, 55,000 square feet. We have a skills lab, a technology lab with all of the top technology, STEM, coding, robotics, AI, 3D printing. We have a dream lab where young people can come and prepare for their pathway, college, full-time employment, vocational training of the military. We have a variety of other health hubs and gymnasium, 3 basketball courts. We offer basketball, volleyball. We introduce kids to golf, tennis, soccer, pickleball, and a variety of other things. But our goal really is to help them to have on-time grade promotion, get to graduation, and prep for what's next for them, to really set them up for success. So I'm excited to have the Rays here tonight, and I would like to introduce to you Ken Babby, CEO of the Rays.
Good evening. Good evening. I couldn't hear you. Good evening. Good evening. Awesome. It is great to be here at the Skills Center tonight. My name is Ken Babby. I am the Chief Executive Officer of your Tampa Bay Rays, and we couldn't be more honored to be here at the Skills Center tonight to share the journey that we're on to bringing the forever home of the Tampa Bay Rays right back here into Tampa. Tonight, I'm going to share some stories, some numbers, and an update on a path that we're on to be able to make the vision and the dream of a reality after so many years comes true. We'll have a number of experts here tonight as we'll talk through questions that folks may have. I'm happy to stay as long as anybody would like to answer any questions on the project. But first and foremost, I just want to say what an honor it is to be here and to be in this community, to be able to talk about the work that we're doing. And I want to thank the team at the Skills Center for having us. I also want to thank Commissioner Gwen Myers, who's here from Hillsborough County. It is a great honor. Gwen, thank you so much for being here, encouraging us to be here, and we are honored to be here, so thank you very much. Tonight, what I'm going to do is take you on a little bit of a ride and tell you a story of how we got here. Now, the story of the Tampa Bay Rays here in our community is a widely known story. For nearly 25 years, the question has been asked, Where will the future ballpark and home of the Rays be? There have been starts, there's been stops, there have been renderings, there have been pictures, there's been videos, there's been failed outcomes. For nearly 25 years, the community has had fatigue in wondering where our team would end. I can start the conversation by telling you, first things first, that on April the 6th, the Tampa Bay Rays will return home to Tropicana Field, a fully renovated Tropicana Field as we take on the Chicago Cubs on opening day. We want to thank the city of St. Petersburg for their work, working alongside us to restore the roof, the building, and we can't wait to welcome our fans home in just a few short weeks. 32 weeks ago, Patrick Zalubski, Bill Cosgrove, myself, and a group of Tampa-rooted partners bought the Tampa Bay Rays. Now, a sports team is first and foremost a community asset. We are stewards of your hometown baseball team. We believe truly that owning a sports team in a city, it has a great deal of responsibility on our shoulders that comes with that. This is your team. It is your Tampa Bay Rays, and it is our job to be able to deliver to you, the community, not only a championship product on the field, but continue to care and use baseball as a platform to do right in our community. And that includes all of our community. And so to work we went. And at our opening press conference, we described a bold vision that we would begin searching for the forever home of the Rays. And that work started by looking at different sites throughout our community, all throughout our community. Now, we were focused on a few leading criteria in our vision, thinking about the opportunity to build not just a ballpark, it was more than a ballpark. We're talking about building a community, building a district, building a world-class development with hotels and restaurants. We're talking about building the first known work, live, learn, play community in the United States. You see, this is much bigger than baseball. We partnered along with the team at Hillsborough College. I'm so proud that the president of Dale Mabry's Hillsborough College campus will join me in a moment. But before we talk about the project, what I'd like to do is take you through the story of how we got here. There are so many people alongside this journey with us. And the icons that you see on the screen are just some of the people who have been along this path and this journey with us. You'll see familiar faces like the Lightning and the Bucks, and even the New York Yankees, who we compete like heck against in the American League East, but off the field are our partners, and we're proud of that. You'll see the Tampa Airport on there that has been a strong, steadfast supporter of this project and the work. You'll see the work of Hillsborough College. You'll see so many local community partners, including the city and the county, that have joined us along this version. Tampa, this is our moment. And when we talk about a generational moment for a community, a moment like this comes along sometimes once in a lifetime. There are communities all over the United States that would love to have Major League Baseball in their city. And we are so fortunate to be focused on building this world-class work, live, learn community development right here in Tampa. Now, we're not having conversations in any other city. This is Tampa's team, this is Tampa's deal, and we are committed to bringing it home to you and our community. Yeah. The momentum of our work is growing. We're traveling from location to location, having community meetings like this, and we will have several more over the course of the next few days and weeks. The buzz is buzzing. You can see the energy in the community. You've seen the governor here. You've seen the commissioner of baseball here. Everybody is incredibly excited about this work because they know that a moment like this has to be acted on, and that a moment like this happens only once in a generation. truly rejuvenating a college, working alongside Hillsborough College that desperately needs it with aged facilities and over $65 million of deferred maintenance in the community, in their buildings, that but not for this project, we will talk about the but-for argument, that but not for this project, a college wouldn't be rejuvenated that desperately needs it to be able to continue to provide a high level of higher educational growth for its students. But not for this development, we wouldn't have the opportunity to develop what's now just parking lot space into a world-class 130-acre development. We're actively engaged with companies that are interested in potentially bringing their headquarters to Tampa, moving families, moving businesses, both small businesses, minority businesses, large businesses, welcoming them to our community. When you take a step back and you think about what we're trying to do here, it's helpful to look at the vision of what we're trying to create. We've talked about the work, live, learn, play development. We're talking about 8 million square feet. We're talking about rejuvenating a college campus, multifamily residential housing, and yes, a commitment to affordable housing, retail, small business commitments, a sports medicine program that, again, but not for this development, simply wouldn't be possible in bringing this community home, and of course, the forever home of the Tampa Bay Rays. This project will bring 11,900 new permanent jobs to our community and 10 million annual visitors every year to the development. Now, 10 million annual visitors is like bringing an attraction to your community. It's less than the number of people that come to Disney's Magic Kingdom every year and less than the number of people that come to Epcot every year, but it's more than the number of people that come to Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios. Building a world-class attraction in our community. And I'm sure you're thinking right now, but what about the traffic? We're thinking about it. We're researching it. We're learning about it. We're doing studies on it. And I'm thrilled tonight to have my partner, Don Dodge at Kimley Horn, here tonight to share the results of our traffic survey and to share the answers to questions that I know many of you have about traffic and the way that this will interact. The bottom line is the state is joining us, not only in helping us rejuvenate a college, but bringing infrastructure to expand roads, add pedestrian skyway bridges, widen roads that have been needed in our community for over a decade. In fact, even the Bucks have told us that some of these transportation improvements that we're talking about that are going to happen as a part of this project have been requested for over a decade that wouldn't happen if it wasn't for this project. When we think about the massing of the space, it's helpful to think about it in different quadrants. And I'll work from the back corner to the front. We couldn't be more thrilled about the work that we're doing in Innovation Edge, the new future home of Hillsborough College. World-class buildings, bringing that community and those students to an incredible new experience that, but not for this project, would not be possible. The canopy, which will include affordable housing. And tonight, we will talk further about our community benefits program. In fact, Nicole Travis will join me on stage shortly to talk about the commitments that we're bringing to the community. Minority commitments, commitments to small businesses, commitments to parks and recreation, and commitments to affordable housing. All of them are coming with this project. And finally, Champions Quarter, which will of course be the new home for your Tampa Bay Rays, a world-class hotel, probably multiple hotels, and an immersive experience and a live entertainment venue, all of course encompassing this project. It's helpful sometimes, I think, to think about a project like this and wonder, is there any other example of something like this out there in the United States? And many of you, I hope, have had the opportunity to visit the Battery and Truist Park, home of the Atlanta Braves. We're really inspired by the work that the Braves have done, but that project, if you've been to the Battery, is across 74 acres of space. And it is incredible what they've done, right? It's got hotel, it's got retail, it's got mixed use. It doesn't have a college, and it's on 74 acres of space. Fully built out, it's probably 4 million square feet. Today, it's about 2 million square feet, and it's incredible. What we're talking about here is nearly 130 acres, 6 to 8 million square feet, fully built out. One of the things we're proudest of is the impact we're going to be able to have in small businesses and minority communities through our work. And part of doing that is making a commitment, having a responsible scorecard that we're going to continue to create jobs through the work on our community. Now, we talked about the 11,900 jobs that we're bringing. Let's talk about how it's going to work. So when you have a workforce development program, you generally create a feeder into those jobs. We're going to have job needs that are going to come from the hotel, from the restaurants, from the baseball team. Well, we just happen to have on campus Hillsborough College that's churning out graduates with culinary degrees, hospitality programs, and a focus on technical degrees. Those students are going to have the first right and the first opportunity as they graduate on stage with their diploma to have jobs in our development and with our team. It's truly creating a workforce pipeline life cycle that creates an opportunity for those students that would not otherwise be possible, and we're committed to seeing that through so it is successful for the businesses that are in the development. Now, I've spent the last 15 years of my life in the world of minor league baseball. I spent the last 10 or so owning a team up in Jacksonville, Florida, the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp, the AAA affiliate of the Miami Marlins. I also owned a team in Akron, Ohio earlier in my career, known as the Akron Rubber Ducks. Akron is the tire capital of the world. And what makes me proudest of the work that we did in those two communities is how we bring family together, how we make the ballpark accessible, how we do it through affordability, accessibility, no matter where you're from, what you look like, what your religious background is, or who you are. You're welcome, and you're part of the experience. And as we lean into the world of what the Tampa Bay Rays are trying to do with this project, we make that same commitment. In fact, we didn't even wait to bring that affordability and accessibility to the region. It started on opening day right here in 2026 with a commitment in Tampa to bring a $10 ticket to a major league game 81 nights a year. This development, of course, will have 10 million annual visitors, but this is so much more than just about baseball games. Sure, we'll have our 81 nights of baseball, but we'll have concerts, special events, world-class championships coming to our community. The ballpark, which I'll talk about in a minute, is only part of the story. We're talking about live entertainment and music and shopping and retail and hotels, integration with the airport, improved transportation, and an improved experience with Hillsborough College's rejuvenation. When I think about the Hillsborough College program, it's probably the part of this project that I think all of us at the Rays are proudest of. You know, across the country, you see examples of teams renovating and building ballparks or new stadiums. We have the opportunity to do something entirely different here. As a kid growing up, I grew up in Washington, D.C. We didn't have a Major League Baseball team in D.C. Kind of hard to believe that the nation's capital didn't have America's pastime in our backyard. But I grew up a fan of the Baltimore Orioles. My wife's here, she's from Baltimore. My father also worked for the Orioles and was part of the group that built Oriole Park at Camden Yards. As a kid in the early 90s, I realize I just gave my age away, but as a kid in the early 90s, I had a front row seat of seeing what happens when a community makes a decision like the one we're about to make, where a community has the opportunity to be able to make a choice by investing in itself. Oriole Park at Camden Yards changed baseball forever. And it had an opportunity that otherwise would not have happened to rejuvenate that city. Inner Harbor, where Oriole Park was created, totally transformed. Businesses grew, communities thrived, students had more education opportunity. That project was 100% publicly financed. And again, more recently, there are examples, and we'll talk more about them tonight, where communities have stepped up in these pivotal moments to say yes. When we think about the college's impact, I think a lot about Baltimore's moment and watching how a community transformed. I think about our ballpark. I think about a community and a ballpark that's built for Tampa Bay. This is your ballpark. This is your team. This is your community. And we're committed to finding a way to make sure everybody feels welcome right here at home. We're talking about a 30,000 seat fixed ballpark. The same way that Oriole Park at Camden Yards opened and innovation was used, we're finding our innovation. Tampa is thriving, Tampa is growing, and we want to be able to create something that not only something that everybody in the room is proud of, but that the world can be proud of. And here in Tampa, we have a chance to do that by creating an outdoor-indoor experience. Imagine sitting on a warm summer night, being able to see the planes fly above, the stars in the sky, if it's raining, the thunder and lightning above, and yet have all the cool climate-controlled elements of sitting indoors. By bringing the outside in, our facility will be inside. But by designing the roof and working with world-class experts, many, by the way, companies who are based here in Tampa, we have an opportunity to create something truly iconic. When I think about Oriole Park, it's kind of hard to imagine that that ballpark, which is now more than 30 years old, transformed all of the future ballparks that came after it. The ballpark that opened just before it, a couple of years earlier, Tropicana Field here in Tampa, in St. Petersburg. And so when we think of innovation and trying to do things right and be bold, we want this to be a ballpark that our community can be proud of for 30 to 50 years to come. It requires innovation, it requires bold thinking, and it requires bold action on the part of our community. But this ownership group, our ownership group, is putting our money where our mouths are. And we want to be able to be serious about creating a great, fair, public-private partnership. When we think about the community benefits that we're going to bring to this opportunity, I think a lot about the journey. And I think a lot about how we have an opportunity here to truly make a difference in our community. Now, other projects and retail development programs have had community benefits agreements before. That concept is not new. But the way that we're going about doing this, and Nicole Travis will join me on stage here shortly, is different. Because we want to hear from the community that as we write a check to be able to make Tampa a better place to work, live, learn, and play, you get to be part of telling us where these dollars should be invested. We know that there's needs in transportation. We know that there's needs in public safety. We know that there's needs in improving parks and affordable housing. And those are just some of the pillars of the community benefits program that we're going to create. We talked a lot about workforce development, and we're talking tonight about creating a scorecard that holds the Rays and our team accountable. It'll be part of our contractual agreement that ultimately gets voted on by our elected officials at the county and the city. This isn't just lip service of us being on stage talking about doing these things. You will hold all of us responsible for delivering on these commitments to emerging businesses, to affordable housing, to minority workforce communities, to making sure that we're making investments together as a community in small businesses. We're talking about investing in parks. We're talking about taking spaces like Al Lopez Park and creating a world-class park that's lit, yes, with tennis and pickleball courts, that have the opportunity to be able to create greater experiences for those who enjoy those wonderful community assets. Of course, we talked about Hillsborough College and the investments we're going to make in education, but it goes way further than that. Think about the place where we are tonight. I had a chance earlier tonight with our team to visit the esports lounge, seeing students come in and out of this incredible facility. This is exactly what we're talking about. It is not by mistake that we are here tonight. Making investments in places like the Skills Center is exactly what a community benefits agreement has the ability to do. Projects like this don't happen without bold action, without the community stepping forth. This is so much bigger than baseball. It is so much bigger than a development. This is a generational moment for our city. I want to take a minute and talk a little bit about some of the economic benefits that come from a project like this. Now, when we first started putting economic data out about a month ago, folks would say, well, that data is just from the Rays. It's not. It's coming from independent research firms that we've contracted. In fact, the first work that we've done is said we're going to set guiding principles about the way that we've built our financing package. Few guiding principles that are important in our success. One, we will take no money away from other public priorities. We will take no money from any of the areas that the community and our elected officials have deemed important. Why? Because we live here too. We care deeply about the safety and transportation and all the things that are important to a growing, thriving city. We also have committed that in this project we're going to do something that has never been done before in a facility here in the Tampa Bay region. That includes the football stadium, the hockey arena, and all the other sports facilities. The Tampa Bay Rays and our ownership group will be responsible for not only all of the ongoing maintenance of the new ballpark, but we will also be responsible for all the capital repair, the capital improvements over the life of our agreement with the city and the county. This is an unprecedented deal for the community, and I'll explain why. First, we're talking about a $2.3 billion ballpark. The first thing we're saying is that the Tampa Bay Rays and our ownership group will write the check for at least half the cost of that building, at least half the cost of the $2.3 billion ballpark. We're also saying tonight that we're taking on the responsibility of 100% of the overruns should the project go over budget. We all know how expensive construction projects are, and as the costs grow, that's coming out of our pocket, not out of the taxpayer's pocket. We'll take on the maintenance, the capital repair, all of the overruns, and personally as a group, as an ownership group, pay for more than 50% of the cost of our community ballpark. When I look at other communities that have been in the same shoes that we are in tonight, sitting here right now, we've watched how they act. Now, I shared the story in Baltimore, where they believed in the project so much that they paid 100% of it as a state of Maryland. And then they came back 30 years later, and they just announced another $600 million, fully publicly paid, to improve Oriole Park at Camden Yards just further. But it's not just happening in Baltimore. Look in Milwaukee, where the public just stepped up with a 75% public deal. We're talking about, at a minimum, 50% private deal where we will pay the money. We will likely end up spending a lot more than 50% to bring this project to a reality. As it relates to the development, the Rays are taking on 100% of the cost and risk of the 130-acre development. We'll have some help from the state on some of the roads and infrastructure, but 100% of the cost of the development will be paid for by the Tampa Bay Rays. When I look at the numbers, and you stop for a minute to reflect about what we're talking about, first we went to an independent research firm that Hillsborough County encouraged us to hire. We'd never heard of RCLCO, but RCLCO does projects like this and studies the economic impact. If you were to make an investment like this, what would happen? We shipped all the data off to RCLCO, and they came back and they said, if you were to make this investment as a community, as the Tampa Bay Rays, as the state of Florida, with the county and the city and the state and the college and the team, it would bring 11,900 permanent jobs to our community. It would bring $55 billion of impact to the Tampa region over the 30 years of the project. $55.5 billion that, but not for this investment that we're making together in our public-private partnership with the community, would not happen. It's helpful to look at some of the sources of how the taxes that would be created together would impact our community. We're talking about $6 billion of tax revenue across a number of different sources that's going to be generated for these areas. The state of Florida alone will generate $2.3 billion of tax revenue if this project occurs. The city of Tampa, $1.78 billion in new tax revenues that can be deployed into even greater community needs. You see the impact on the county, $1.5 billion, so on and so on. $6 billion as a function of this project. But not for this work, that number would be zero. So how does this all work? What happens? The first part is, over the course of the next few weeks, we will have a series of city and county legislative process. We're working alongside city and county staff on a framework for this great public-private partnership that will ultimately need to be voted on by the county commission and city council. And should that move forward, and we hope it will, we will go to work. Our work starts by creating the Nest, a transition site for our friends at Hillsborough College. Funded by the Tampa Bay Rays and the state of Florida, we will begin the process of creating that student experience that will last through the period of construction, so the students at Hillsborough College will be able to continue that great learning experience. And we'll talk about that with the school's president here just in a moment, Dr. Nihas. Well, then the ballpark opens. And Sam, go back one slide if we can. Then the ballpark opens and our development starts to grow. And our year-round buildings start to flourish. The hotels open. The retail opens. When the ballpark opens in the first phase, the hotel, the retail, the mixed use, and the college will open right alongside with it. You won't have to wait 4 or 5 more years. Our year is 2029. This ballpark and the phase 1 development will open in April of 2029. That is why it is so critical that we need to act on this program right now. The Rays in Tropicana Field will continue to struggle to be a vibrant member of our community in creating the jobs, the economic impact, and of course championship baseball that our community so desperately deserves. We want to be part of Tampa Bay too, and we're excited about joining that along with the community. Over the course of the next few weeks, we'll have legislative agreements. We will go back. Yep, thanks. We'll have legislative agreements between the city and the county. We'll continue working to refine our design with our team at Populous. We will work alongside developing that great community benefits agreement that we're going to talk about tonight. We're going to continue our stakeholder and partner engagement. We're so fortunate to have the other sports teams like the Yankees and the Lightning and the Bucks as our partners working alongside in developing this vision for our community. We are not going at this alone. We're working with the team at the airport. We're working with the city. We're working with the county to be able to create a fair public-private partnership. I mentioned this to a group last night, but to me, the greatest sign of success would be 30 years from now if we're together and the community said, boy, saying yes to this project was one of the best decisions the community ever made. We look at the success of the Lightning. I don't think anybody believed that Tampa would be a hockey town. But based on the bold vision of Jeff Vinnick and the emphasis and commitments that he's made in the community, Tampa proved that it could be bold and take big decisions like this and realize world-class opportunities. We think about the kind of city and community that we dream to be. My family packed up and moved here because we believe in Tampa. This is Tampa's deal. It's our moment. It's our opportunity to get this right. Our ownership is committed. The state and city leaders are aligned with our vision. The Hillsborough College team is working alongside us and ready to transform. The state is right there with us in their budget, aligned to put money into the college, into the infrastructure, into the world that we're building here, that but not for this wouldn't be possible. We have the full support of Major League Baseball. The commissioner has publicly said Major League Baseball belongs in Tampa. And there's districts all over the country, like the Battery, that have proven that this model works. And we're going a step further and rejuvenating a college as a partner alongside that work. We know the fatigue. We know that we've been at this for 25 years under different ownership with different plans and different vision. The urgency and need to act now is real. And we're ready to deliver this for our community. This is Tampa's moment, and we couldn't be prouder to make this thing happen. And you will play a huge role in bringing Major League Baseball to Tampa and the forever home of the Tampa Bay Rays. Thank you very much. We will have more community huddles over the course of the next few weeks, but I also want to extend an opportunity for you to not only ask questions tonight. We have comment cards going around. Let's go back and share that email address in our social media for those that want to continue to engage with the team. We've launched a whole website that has information on the economic development data from the various sources, not just RCLCO, but Brailsford and Dunleavy just released another economic survey that showed the $55 billion of economic impact. And of course, you'll be able to follow the journey all along in our success together as a community. I want to go one step further. I want to give everybody in the room tonight my email so you can reach out directly. We want to hear ideas. We want feedback. We want to know how to refine our plan and deliver this not just for some of the community, but for all of the community. You can reach me at ken@raysbaseball.com. I will respond to every single message because we care, we have pride, we have passion, and a deep conviction to make this work for Tampa. Thank you. I'd like to invite Nicole Travis to join me on stage. Nicole? Nicole is with URP Partners. She's working alongside us in developing our community development agreement and community benefits agreement. Good evening. How are you? When a project like this takes form, it requires great thought and partnership and input from the community. And I thought tonight, having Nicole here to answer some of the questions about the way that we're thinking about investing, not just in the ballpark, not just in the development, but investing in Tampa Bay, would be valuable to the group. So we're happy to take some questions. I'm happy to stay as long as you have questions. I told my wife cancel dinner plans tonight. We're here to answer any questions that you have. We did this last night. I think we were there till almost 10 o'clock. Happy to stay as long as you like. And I'm thrilled to have you with us here tonight. We have a number of other experts in the room as well. And as questions come in about traffic, or comments, we'll bring folks up as well. Thank you.
How's that? All right, thank you to the amazing AV team back there. Appreciate you. Again, we're so glad that you all are here today. If you didn't have a chance to fill out the comment card, let us know. Just raise your hand, and we'll make sure we'll get that to you. We'll call you up by name. Make sure you introduce yourself. And if you can, limit it to just one question. But if you have additional questions, that's okay. Fill out the card or send an email to Ken, and we will get back with you. So we'll start tonight with Connor Reynolds, Carl Lavender, and Jacob Wetzman. If you could come forward, please. Connor Reynolds, Carl Lavender, and Jacob Wetzman. Hi, how are you? Here's your card.
Thank you very much. Look like Oprah. Question, Carl Lavender, St. Petersburg, Florida. You talk about workforce development. That's a significant number, almost 12,000 people. A, how do you generate that kind of workforce with the college? Will there be a strategy for that? And number two, how do you sustain that workforce over time to ensure that the full operations of the stadium campus is excellent?
That's great. First of all, thank you for being here and asking that question. I think when you create a workforce development pipeline that we're talking about, it requires certain attributes, certain ingredients in the work. And I've watched this personally in cities like Akron, Ohio, and Jacksonville, Florida, where I grew up in Washington, D.C. And it's really easy to sit up on a stage like we are tonight and just say, well, we're going to do all these things. That, it's really easy to, hire an independent economic firm and give you some big numbers and say, well, that's what we think is going to happen. It's a lot harder to be held accountable. And the answer to your question will be formed in creating that scorecard. When we say we're going to create 11,900 permanent jobs here in Tampa, we're going to show you and publicize to the entire community where they are. Because otherwise, we're not being held accountable. And, we met with a group earlier this week, and they asked the same question. They said, well, you're putting some big numbers up there, Ken. How do we believe the Rays? You'll believe the Rays because contractually, in our agreement with the city and the county that we're going to all vote on, that the elected officials are going to vote on, they're going to hold us accountable. And if we don't deliver, we'll be in a breach of that agreement. And we're doing this not just because it's in a contract. A workforce development program like this can change a city, and we're doing it, honestly, because it's the right thing to do. Creating opportunities for minority hiring, creating opportunities for small businesses, that's what makes a community thrive. You can hold us accountable to do the work, but more importantly, we believe it's the right thing to do. Thank you.
Hey, Ken. First of all, I just want to say we as fans can tell that you really care about the team, and I really appreciate that. So I was at the meeting here yesterday, and one of the questions was about the design of the ballpark. So I kind of want to go back to the design of the 2018 Ybor ballpark for a second. And in the renderings, I really felt like it really found like a great balance between kind of that futuristic feel with, the transparent roof, while also finding a balance with the kind of everlasting, authentic feel with the brick, because, in Ybor, of course, there's a brick, so by using that brick, it helps it to blend in with the rest of the community. So my question is regarding this ballpark. Will you guys, use brick or whatever material, and how will you incorporate the design with kind of the surrounding buildings? So maybe will you think about the design of the actual other buildings outside of the stadium or the ballpark itself to help it blend in? And I know yesterday one of your quotes was saying that, you don't want it to look like a spaceship dropped down on Dale Mabry. So, yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you for your question. I grew up sort of a connoisseur of ballparks and have been really fortunate to travel throughout the U.S. and see what I think are some of America's iconic ballparks. And we can talk through some of them because there's some great ones. One of my favorites is PNC Park in Pittsburgh, and I'm sure folks have had a chance to travel and go to games in other cities. I hope you have. One thing that I'm certain of is that a ballpark must reflect the city that it is. And it would be such a failure to us in building this together as a community for you to sit there on a summer night and have it look like a spaceship landed in the middle of your city, in the middle of our city. This ballpark must reflect Tampa. This is Tampa's ballpark, and it must reflect the community that we serve, including the people that are inside it. And to do that is hard. When you look at the great ballparks in America, they bring materials in that reflect it. And so last night I talked about this ballpark needs to have Ybor brick. It needs to bring the materials that epitomize our city to stand the test of time. And while we've put some renderings and videos and different fun materials out there, that design work is just beginning, and it'll change and continue to evolve. But this must certainly be Tampa Bay's ballpark, and we are committed to making sure that that happens.
All right, next we have Connor Reynolds, Phyllis DeFonso, Carl D., and Phelan Brown. If you could come forward. Phyllis DeFonso? Come on over.
Oh, okay. Thank you. As you know, traffic in the entire county, it seems, is just a disaster and growing exponentially. I heard about expanding roads and improving on things like that. In addition to that, what are your plans for mass transit?
Yeah, great question. So I could try and answer questions about traffic, and I would just tell you that nobody likes sitting in traffic. We're all fans. We all travel around. Traffic is part of being in a growing city. We have a lot of traffic here in Tampa, but we've taken the work around traffic really, really seriously. We've brought in Kimberly Horn. Dawn Dodge is here tonight. I'm going to ask her to join on stage just for a minute and talk a little bit about the work that we've done to develop a traffic survey, a plan, how the city and Tampa Sports Authority and county have responded to it, because you're absolutely right, it has to be a critical part of our plan. Dawn?
Hi, good evening. Again, Dawn Dodge with Kimberly Horn. Good question. I'll start off with, like Ken mentioned, just what we've done so far to look at the traffic. As Ken mentioned, it is, and I think you mentioned as well, there is existing traffic. We are all well aware of that. But we have been working diligently with the Sports Authority, as well as the city and the DOT as well, on establishing, what the base traffic is. And we have analyzed not only what the ballpark will, how the ballpark will impact it, but also the mixed use. I will say our conversations have been very positive. The Sports Authority has, they're the ones that manage the traffic for all of the Super Bowls and the big, large events that we have. And so, as Ken mentioned earlier, they're really looking at this project to be that catalyst that will actually be able to fund some of the projects that they've been wanting to do. So our goal with the project is definitely to not only improve traffic for this project, but it'll actually involve, improve the traffic overall. Your comment about mass transit, I will say the ownership group is very, very passionate and excited about the opportunity to improve mass transit, or even just the possibility of it. And I think as our community is aware, there's been lots of studies done to date, but we're hoping that this is something, a huge investment like this might be something that will hopefully accelerate the plans for some type of mass transit.
Yeah, we thank you, Don. We spent a lot of time talking about how traffic can't be a problem or a reason why people don't come to this development, and it requires road expansion and all the things Don and I spoke about. In terms of mass transit, what's particularly cool is we've been having really great conversations with Michael Stevens, who's the head of our great airport. We have an amazing airport here in Tampa. Of course, the airport is right across the street from the site and the development that we're talking about. And we talked about how cool it could be to be able to create an experience where folks at some point would be able to have light rail, to be able to come and connect the airport, the development, downtown. Imagine somebody coming from out of town, checking a bag at a hotel in the development, the bag brought seamlessly to the airport. Maybe they go and enjoy dinner or a ball game and then make their way in and out of town, and the bag is on the plane. That is not done anywhere in the United States today. And we're incredibly excited about exploring innovation and pathways like that way that make the ingress and egress experience better. At the end of the day, we're all baseball fans, we're all sports fans. Nobody wants to sit in traffic. I grew up personally in a city with some of the worst traffic in DC. I never want to live like that again. And so I promise you, you have our commitment and our ownership group's commitment and our partners' commitment that we're going to do everything we can alongside the state, county, and city to alleviate those traffic concerns. Thank you for your question. Thank you, Don. Don't go far. We may need you again. She's also an aviation expert, so we can talk about that too.
Hello, good evening. My name is Phelan Brown. I'm an East Tampa resident, and my question is about others that live in the city. Can you share a little bit more about the displacement that may happen with the development of the stadium? And secondarily to that, we know that people are coming to USF and not staying after graduation. So will the housing that replaces what's existing in HCC, would that be used to retain those students, give them a better environment, and possibly stay here and transition from Hillsborough Community College, or not Hillsborough College, up to USF and remain in the Tampa area?
Yeah, thank you for your question. I'm going to bring President Nihas from Del Mabry campus of HCC, Hillsborough College up. I would just say before she gets up, we are not displacing any student housing. The student housing that Hillsborough College has is actually not part of our development at all, and we have no plans to displace any, but I'll let you hear it from the source.
Hi, good evening. I'm Paige Niehaus. That's correct. The Hawks Landing, which is our residence hall for our students, is owned by our foundation, and it's located on the other side of Lois Avenue. We don't anticipate any changes to that at all. Hillsborough College also has a really strong partnership with USF called the FUSE program, where students enroll with us and they have automatic acceptance into USF. We find at Hillsborough College a lot of our students stay right here in the area. So I hope that answers your question. And Ken, since I'm up here,
yeah,
may I circle back
please.
on the workforce question that the gentleman asked earlier? We are in the business of preparing people to enter into the workforce. That's what we do. This partnership with the Rays is just phenomenal. It'll give us that ability not only to create more awareness, foot traffic, students knowing what our programs are that we have on campus, but the fact that our students can enter right into a lot of those jobs just right outside of our doors. So it's a great partnership. We have programs in cybersecurity, AI. Ken has mentioned landing a couple of Fortune 500 businesses. We have accounting, business, a myriad of different programs, architecture on our campus, along with our hospitality and culinary, and possibly some new programs that I think will be a great partnership with the Rays and what they're building there. So we're really looking forward to expanding our programs, being able to have more students go through those programs, and to be able to enter the workforce. So I think it's going to be a really great positive collaboration.
Thanks, President Nihas. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
Well, Councilwoman Young, thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. Thank you. I want to give Nicole Travis an opportunity to talk about our community benefits agreement. A critical component of this project's success are the commitments that we're prepared to make as part of this to the community. We talked about the parks, we talked about minority hiring, we talked about the commitments to small businesses, but I don't want you to just take our word for it. I want you to hear from the source on the cutting room floor as we're developing this CBA together. So, Nicole?
Good evening. Okay, good evening, everyone. So it's really been a pleasure to be on this side of the community benefits agreement. For those of you that don't know, before URP Advisors, I worked with the city and actually developed the community benefits agreement with a lot of the community partners and people that are in the room right now. And a part of that is really holding developers accountable in when you have a project that's investing in the community, because that's what it is. When Ken talks about the partnership with the city and the county, and it is taxpayer dollars, it is an investment in the community is making, and a part of that investment is with the community receiving something from that. So you've heard about the workforce development piece, but there are opportunities for minority businesses, small businesses to participate, not just on the construction project. We're talking about a pipeline of work that continue to work with the Rays because this is their home. They want to be a part of the community as well. You've heard about affordable housing, workforce housing, It doesn't mean that workforce housing is going to be all on site. One of the things that this ownership team, can you hear me?
No, I dropped out.
One of the things that you can hear from this ownership team is that they are truly committed to the community. So workforce housing is just not let me just say affordable housing is an issue that they recognize, just like transit in the community, and they're committed to being a part of that, not just on site. However they do that, they may be scattered site as well. And so what you have is a team, and for those of you that know me, I only work with people that I believe in and that are people of their word. And that's what you have in this team. And so being a part of that is the community gets to be a part of that community benefits process. We're in the process of establishing that. Drew Park, this is in the Drew Park CRA. There will be a representative from the Drew Park CRA as a part of the team that is building the exact benefits that would be recuperated in this area.
That's great. Yeah, thank you, Nicole. Yeah.
All right, next we have Carl D., Dana Andrews, Cobby, and Joel Chudnow.
How are you? Thank you. First of all, I have to say I'm thrilled to be here at the Skills Center. It's amazing. And two, I didn't realize all that I was going to learn tonight, but I love the advocacy for HCC. I'm a true believer in junior college and as a fabulous pathway for students, so I think that's awesome. But why I'm here is I'm an attorney by trade, but I'm an advocate for tennis and United States Tennis Association. I'm a past president of USTA Florida. And so in terms of numbers, you have great numbers about what you're doing, and I'm really here to help you understand what HCC Tennis Center does for this community. First of all, Hillsborough County in the state of Florida, which you know is a hotbed of tennis, and no offense to baseball, but tennis has been proven to be the healthiest sport, adds 9.5 years to your life. But Hillsborough County is the 4th largest tennis community in the state. Hillsborough taking that down to HCC, it has 23 courts, but it actually handles 26% of the tennis population in Hillsborough County. And we're talking about 26,500 kids from 6 to 17. It has over 100 leagues, and you don't want to be messing with 1,600 women who play leagues.
That's for sure.
They want their courts. So the other part that's very unique about HCC is that it has 11,800 unique visitors. And so what my hope is and my passion is that we do have a seat at the table. USTA can be an amazing partner to you in terms of, I heard you mention tennis and pickleball, as to what that would look like in your overall landscape. And so I hope you look at my email address, because again, more than happy to partner with you on that part of the design. You wouldn't even have to pay for it. They do it for free. So again, but I will have to say the commitment to HCC has really spoken to me tonight.
Thank you. Appreciate it. I'll just say a word about thank you for being here tonight. And we made this statement last night, but I'll make it again tonight. We are committed to building a world-class tennis center as a part of this project. We're really excited about potentially doing that in Al Lopez Park through our community benefits agreement. Tennis is important to the community. It's also important to my family. I shared this last night. My 17-year-old son is a varsity tennis player. He won his match 6-2, 6-1 today. So, tennis is important. My dad's in his late 70s. He plays tennis 3 times a week. You have our commitment. Tennis will be a big part of our plan, and you can hold us accountable to that. Thank you for being here.
We'll try again. Cobby, Joel Chudnow, and Ron Weaver, if you come forward.
That's a great visor, by the way. I like that. You see that raised visor? I like it.
Thank you for being here. Thank you for. I question, but on the card, what other issues came to mind? So share that because it's critical. We are near crisis ability in Tampa Bay. Do you have any plans to build catchment areas?
I'm sorry, I'm having trouble hearing. So sorry.
Do you have any plans on catchment areas or reservoirs to save water and conserve water for your project and for the community? Water is a critical project. You're talking about 30 to 50 years, and it's not getting any better. If you haven't thought about this, I strongly urge you to consider it and do something about this.
I really appreciate your question. This is the first question, and we've done several of these community huddles. That's the first question that's come up related to stormwater, and I'm so thrilled you asked it because Dawn's here and she's an expert on it, and we've spent a lot of time thinking about it. I have to be honest with you, we've been waiting for a week and a half for somebody to ask this question, so we're so thankful you're here.
Yeah, does this work? Okay.
Not only does she do traffic and aviation, but
I'm a civil engineer, so yes, exactly. This is all my world. But yes, for the stormwater, we're not only going to comply with the local stormwater, regulations, but for the ballpark itself, we are actually going to capture the rainwater. As you know, we're going to have this very, very large roof, so all that water is going to be captured. And as much as we can, it's actually going to be filtered into to actually help with the MEP system within the building. So it won't be able to, we can't necessarily depend on it for everything, but we absolutely are going to be capturing the rainwater to use it for the building, and then treating the stormwater to the newest regulations.
Thank
Does that
you.
answer your questions?
Thank you for your question.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm Ron Weaver, and I'd like to follow up a little bit on our question regarding how we make guided fixed-way rail from downtown to the Rays and the International Mall on the way to the airport, which designed it to expect the rail to come in. What kind of incentives, like oversizing your infrastructure, free Rays tickets, and other kinds of incentives can you offer?
I heard that, Ron. You just weaved that right in there. I like
Weaver's
that.
weaving that right in there, Ken. And 5 or 6 other ways you can creatively go to those other 6 partners in that Long Island iced tea from last night and show the International Mall what's in it for them if they public-private partnership with you to get us rail to deal with this traffic. So when we look back in 30 years, we're not going to say that we made traffic worse for a while and then fixed it, but we made traffic better from the start. You got 3 years to get that first trip on the road. How do we spend those same 3 years mobilizing, mesmerizing, and activating all the 6 or 8 partners to get that fixed rail ready to make transportation in that part of the city better instead of just even for a couple of years?
Thank you, Ron. I appreciate it. Thank you for being here. You know, we spend a lot of time dreaming about what Tampa wants to be when it grows up, you know, as a city, as a county, as a community, and the city's growing so fast as people move here more and more each day in one of the fastest growing cities in the country. It's going to require us to invest in our infrastructure and in our rail system, and we need the help of the state to do that with us and for us and alongside us. And I would tell you, we spent a lot of time late at night dreaming about what a rail system could look like, as I talked about, that connects not only the airport and into the development, down through multimodal, the old Charlie's Steakhouse, and then downtown, moving people through the community seamlessly, alleviating the pressure on motor vehicle traffic, right? Imagine the ability to be able to go to a game and then get back downtown, or to travel to different parts of the community to alleviate bus transport and traffic, and be able to connect the community to minority parts of the community that just don't have those same opportunities. We have to find a way to make this development accessible to the entire community. And if we miss on that, the project will be a failure. Yeah, thank you, Ron.
Hi, Ken. Thank you so much for coming and sharing your narrative. My name is Kobe Matthews, and I'm really excited to hear about the work, live, and learn positioning of this initiative. With an initiative like this, naturally, it's going to, this size and scale, it's going to hit a number of stakeholders. And I also wanted to think about it from a transformation initiative. It may be perceived as one major ask hitting the same corridor. Given that the average NFL stadium is 20 years old, Raymond James is 28 years old. By the completion of your build, it will be 31 years old. I recognize that the Buccaneers is a partner. Just if you can comment, if at all, on any of the collaborative partnerships giving those priorities and the dynamics of an aging stadium, but also the trending movement to put something new and great as well. How do you combine those two, and what can you comment on about?
It's a great question, and thank you for asking it. You know, we look and we want the whole neighborhood to be better, right? We want our whole community to be better, and that includes the Bucs and the stadium. And by the way, it's not just about the Bucs, it's about how that stadium can be used to be able to have another championship game here in 2029, by the way, the same year as the opening of the ballpark, the national championship coming to our city, to be able to host another Super Bowl, more Taylor Swift concerts, because my wife is very excited about that. We want the notion that rising tides lift all ships, and that by investing in Tampa on a project like this, we're going to do that, not just with the Bucs, but with the Yankees and the Lightning. City Council and the county just recently agreed to a expansion in terms of opportunities at Benchmark Arena downtown, because the Lightning have leaned in and proven that this can be a great asset for the community. And I am incredibly confident that we will do the same with the Bucs as a community. We've spent time with the Glazers, the owners of the Bucs. We know how important the stadium is. We want to see them thrive and interact together in developing an agreement together that helps the Bucs thrive. Of course, the Yankees with their spring training home right next to us. We don't want to help the Yankees on the field, by the way, just off the field. And of course, the development as a whole. But again, rising tides lift all ships, and we're excited to see the Bucs continue to thrive here as our neighbors for decades to come. Thank you for your question.
Jarvis, Anthony, and Charles, if you're here. Jarvis, Anthony, and Charles. Okay, thank you. Anthony.
Forgot what I wrote. Okay, cool. Thank you. Big fan of what's going on here.
It's a quality hat, by the way.
Thank you. Appreciate it. Or for you. Thank you. The one thing I'm concerned about is city council, that side of things, like how the funding's going to work on there. And pretty much was just going to see if we can get an update. Obviously, there's a lot going on behind the scenes, and that's the one part I'm worried about. I'm not worried about anything the Rays are doing. I feel great about this and what you've done in a short amount of time here, but it's more on that side of things. Can you make me feel a little better about what's going on that side? Because I'm a little worried about what's going to happen with the funding on their side.
Well, here's what I will tell you. And one thing you'll get from me is transparency. And my wife always says, just tell them the truth. And that's really all I ever know to do. We're working alongside the staff at the city and the county to develop the framework of the public-private partnership that I talked about tonight. The Rays, of course, will be paying for at least 50% of the cost of the ballpark, 100% of the cost of the development, all of the overruns, 100% of the cost of the overruns, and being responsible about making sure that we take a no-harm approach to making sure that we're not impeding on any priorities. And your elected representatives will have an opportunity to review that and discuss it and debate it in a good, healthy process, the way that government should work. The beauty of being here in an environment tonight is we get to open that conversation to the community, to hear what an impact, what a generational impact this can be to the entire community. And so what I would say to you is, before you leave tonight, stop by, see Commissioner Gwen Myers, see our wonderful councilwoman, Nia Young, that's here tonight, who's sitting in the front row, and tell them, vote yes for this project. Right?
Jarvis Elamine.
Hold on one second.
yes.
Nicole has to add, would like to add.
The only thing that I was going to add is that this is a catalytic project, right? They've been talking about once in a lifetime, once in a generation project, and 20 years of development experience, we don't get to see this kind of impact or this kind of projects of this magnitude. In the same regard, a project of this magnitude is bringing community benefits of a magnitude that we have never seen in any other development project. But for this development, but for this project, and this is what I think everyone here needs to understand so that you can go talk to your elected officials. If this project doesn't happen, you don't get any of the community benefits. We don't get to see any of that. Drew Park is probably one of our least performing CRAs of the 9 CRAs that we have in Tampa, right? And so when you look at catalytic development that then spins off other development, the rising tide floats all boats, right? There needs to be some kind of development of a significant magnitude to make a huge change. And then you have the workforce development on top of that from aging facilities and the pipeline. Like, this is a once in a lifetime, once generation project. And if this project doesn't happen, all of the community benefits, all of the things that you were thinking about, it doesn't happen. So you need to lean on your elected officials.
All right. Michelle Fox, Salima Bennett. Are they here? All righty. Next two. Elvis Piggott and Nathan Moody.
He can come up too. He can come up too. Come on. He's got quality shoes on. What's up, buddy?
I'm Elvis. How you doing? Thank you so much for your time here. Really just the question that I will have is, of course I heard a couple times, you know, the rising tide float all boats. That's very good. I think what would be very important is how would you be able to reassure that in this project that we've heard about, the Lightnings has done a great job, but we also know that in that process, it did not benefit and all boats have not floated. That's the reality. How do we guarantee that while you're doing this project, because it's going to cost all constituents, that all constituents will benefit, mainly District 5, the marginalized communities that is really affected, because most of these projects come in and it's great, but it's for a whole new group of people, right? And so therefore, those that are there, that have lived here, how do they benefit from this? And you collaborate with those small businesses versus letting this project push those small businesses out.
Thank you for your question. I appreciate it. It's a really simple answer because it's honest. We're going to write into the agreement that our elected officials will vote on contractually. It's blood on paper for us. We're committing to it. And if we don't, we've breached our agreement. And you can hold us responsible. If we say that we're going to do these community programs, not just for some of the community, but for all of the community, we're investing in all of the community. We're committing to this community benefits program that Nicole's leading and helping to put together for us alongside our elected officials. When we say that we're going to hire the minority workforce to help us build the ballpark, we are committing contractually that we're going to do it. It's not lip service. And I think you only get one opportunity in life to do the right thing. And when you put your name and pen to paper in front of an entire city and sit up in audiences like this that we're going to do and have done for the last few weeks on this project, your name and your word is your bond. And you have our commitment, and it's not just our words, it's in our writing. that we're committed to doing what's right for the community because it's simply the right thing to do.
And Pastor Pickett, if I may, when you talk about how do we keep them accountable, right? How do we hold the team accountable? Ken is telling you that the agreements that they're signing with the city and the county will have it inked in there, but he is also committed to any of the local contractors that are hired that they are required to help with and hire minority business. And so it's not lip service. Like, they are thinking about it from the beginning, from concept all the way to implementation and to the end product. So there's built-in assurances throughout.
I'd say too, talk to the folks that we work with at the team, in the community. You know, ask them, what's it like to work with the Rays? Talk with folks like Robert Blunt, who I think is here tonight, from Abe Brown Ministries, about what it's like to be a community partner with the Tampa Bay Rays. Ask Harold Craw, who's our Senior Vice President of Community Engagement and Social Impact. Harold has been along my side for over a decade running our team in Jacksonville. He packed up, his family packed up, he moved down to Tampa to be part of our community and part of my leadership team because we believe in doing the right things here. And I think folks like Harold and Robert and our other partners are just simple proof that we're serious about doing the work and we're committed about doing the work.
I don't need it. Okay, you got it. I am a former student of HCC. I graduated from there in 22, and I'm at USF now. And I'm just wondering what impact this will have on the students and the faculty there. I'm sure there's got to be people that aren't thrilled about this. They enjoy free parking now. They enjoy freedom of movement. And this will have a big impact on that, not only for students and faculty at the school, but also the surrounding area. The Bucks use that parking area. Yankees use it. So that's the big concern for me, is how this will impact the students. I'm sure it won't be free parking anymore. I'm sure that there will be people that will skip classes because they don't want to deal with it. The games will certainly coincide with the classes because there's day and night classes there.
Well, congratulations on graduating from Hillsborough College. It's always great to see our alumni. I think there's not a day that doesn't go by that I don't meet somebody that has gone to Hillsborough College. I appreciate hearing your concerns, and we're aware of those concerns. We have heard them from our faculty, our staff, our students, and we're trying to address all of those concerns so that they know what the next step is and what we're doing. Dale Mabry campus serves over 27,000 students, almost 60% of all of Hillsborough College students. And we're very intentional on making sure that the services, the programs that we offer will continue when we're in a temporary space and then into our permanent space. So we're very intentional on making sure that our students continue to choose to come to the Dale Mabry campus. You mentioned some areas, parking is one. We are also working with Beck Group and with the Rays to address where the parking would be for our temporary spaces, and we've come up with some different ideas. I can't speak to parking in the future, but we are working together to make sure that there's no barriers for our students to attend our classes. We want to be able to open our doors and our students to feel very welcome and to be able to have those services that they continue to have. I'm not going to say that it's not going to be a little challenging as we move to our nest area for a period of time while our new permanent home is being built. But I do want to share that it's been said tonight, our buildings are old and they're solid, they're safe, but we're talking about deferred maintenance of $65 million. That doesn't take into account all the projects that I have identified on the campus to make our learning more efficient, that the construction funds are just astronomical. We'll never be able to make the spaces as conducive to learning for our students at the rate we're going right now. And to be able to have this moment in time for Dale Mabry campus to be reimagined and to be there and to give that input, and our faculty and our staff and students, it's really an honor to be at this point in the history. When the first building was built in 71, 72 at Del Mabry, our students were in portables. So we're going back to portables while we are reimagining the next phase of what Del Mabry is, but we're all here and we can be a part of it. So
Yeah, thank you.
thank you.
Thank you for your question. Sir.
Good evening. Thank you. I heard us briefly speak on the opportunities that will come with minority-owned and local businesses, but are we able to be a little more specific or go into detail about those opportunities that will exist for our businesses, entrepreneurs to participate in during this development?
Yeah, I'll start and I'll let Nicole weigh in as well. I think when you make a commitment like we're talking about here tonight, it is important to be specific. First, let's talk about the commitments that we're talking about in the construction of the development and the construction of the stadium. We're going to start by hiring minority workforce right out of the gate. We're making a commitment to do it, and there'll be a substantial part of our selection of our general contractor, our bid work, the construction workforce, and the work that we're doing with the Nest transition site for Hillsborough College. So the work begins with the construction of the project. Then it transitions, of course, in terms of the selection in the development of our small businesses, the businesses that will call this new development home, our employee hiring, the 11,900 permanent jobs that will exist not just at the baseball team, but through those businesses in the community. And of course, the community benefits agreement, which will have its own stipulation and requirements around workforce, affordable housing, and minority hiring as well. So again, when I think about this report card, which we've talked about, that will hold the Rays and the community responsible, jointly responsible, to do the work and to meet the quarterly obligations, we're not just saying we're going to do it, we're putting into writing that we're going to do it because it's the right thing to do. Yeah? Please hold us accountable.
Jason and Al Sharif.
Okay. Hey, Kenneth, how you doing? Just got back from the Rays game this afternoon, which we lost. So
sorry about that.
As a hardcore baseball fan, having been at all 32 baseball stadiums, and agree with you on PNC Park, by far one of the best parks. Super part of that group that has been jaded now after 4 shovels to the ground and no stadium. What happens if our lovely commissioners, who are going to definitely vote for us, do not vote for us? Are we going to Orlando? Are we going to Charlotte? There's a lot of very handsome customers looking to take our team away. So I'm in the skeptical crew still, because all the wonderful things you're saying I'm really excited about, but I'm still in that, until that vote and that shovel hits the ground, I'm just scared.
Yeah, well, we certainly don't want you to be scared. Here's what I can tell you honestly and transparently. We're not talking to anybody else. This is Tampa's team. We want to be here. We're committed to being here, but we need to get this deal done to stay here. And it's critically important. It's absolutely critically important that we look through this project, lean on our elected officials, and do what's right. Because this is so much bigger than baseball. We're talking about a college tonight with $65 million of deferred maintenance. We're talking about minority commitments that are going to impact not just the 130 acres, but the development as a whole. And of course, we're talking about the Rays and the future of Major League Baseball in this city. You know, every great American city has Major League Baseball. I would challenge you to think of a great American city that doesn't have our game. And so I'm with you. Our family just bought a place here. We don't want to leave. We want to be right here in Tampa. But I can tell you this deal's got to get done, and we're committed to getting it done.
Good evening. Again, first and foremost, thank you for being here. DC guy.
Yeah.
Me too.
All right.
Been here 22 years. You guys
much better traffic here, right?
Way better.
Yeah, exactly.
So you guys are currently doing an outstanding job with the community in St. Petersburg as far as with the kids and all of that stuff. We're at a center right now that a lot of kids get help out here. What plans do you guys have in place in the transition? So I'm hearing all the other tertiary things as far as affordable housing, development, all of those things sound good. But from a good faith perspective, for Hillsborough County residents, what are we currently doing, what's in place? Because the Rays, to be quite frank, not you guys, I haven't really seen them come across the bridge as much. First and foremost, I got to thank this lady over here, because we had a conclave a couple of years ago, and you guys actually stepped up in that. But as far as the transition within both, how do you see that, and how's that going to impact the kids right now from a good faith perspective?
Yeah, I'm so happy you asked that question. I will agree with you. I think the Rays need to be more visible in the work that we're doing in the community, and we're committed to seeing that through. It's a big part of why Harold and I are so committed to doing this work. We were just out together at a junior achievement program last week and getting involved in the community here in Tampa, here in Hillsborough County. You will see us on the ground doing that work because it's the right thing to do. I would also point to the work that we've done in Jacksonville, that we've done in Akron, and that the Rays have done already so well in St. Pete. But if we're going to be part of this community, we're going to lean into this community, and you're going to see us active in philanthropic organizations and nonprofits, working with kids, active in the school system. It is so important that we engage with the Hillsborough County school system. Such a critical part of our success. Harold and I had a great program in Jacksonville where we gave free tickets to students that brought home a straight A report card. And we did a summer reading program where when you completed your book reading and your summer reading program or your STEM program, you got to bring your family for free tickets. And you can imagine your brother or sister elbowing you saying, when are you going to bring those free tickets home for the family? We're bringing all of those same programs here to Hillsborough County, here to Tampa Bay. We're leaning into the community and doing the work because, first of all, it's an opportunity to get kids down to the ballpark and teach the game. I was also with one of our elected officials yesterday, and we talked about the importance of a youth sports program. We talked about dedicating 25 fields throughout the region where the Rays would invest in the equipment, the upkeep, and bringing our experience, maybe even some Tampa Bay Rays players, out to community fields to give kids the opportunity to play baseball. Yeah, we can do a round of applause for that. These are the kinds of programs you're going to see from the Rays moving forward. This is what we stand for. This is what we're trying to do. This is why we're here. I often say we use baseball as a platform to do well in the community. Sure, we're going to play 9 innings of baseball over at the ballpark every night and sell hot dogs and beer and have a great experience and win some games. But if we can use the platform of what we're doing with the Rays to make the community better, to me, that's the true home run. And that's what we're committed to doing.
Hey, Al, just one other thing, something that we've been actively talking about, some of the youth programs that are already here. You've heard Yellow Jackets, Belmont Heights, like the Rays are actively talking about it. They're already partnering with some of the baseball. And so we're talking about not just with the community benefits, this is something they're talking about doing just as the core of who they are in the programming. So you'll start hearing and seeing more partnerships with the existing youth programs that are already there and some other partnerships that are pretty cool.
Grab Harold and tell him where those community fields should be. He'll make a list.
Joseph Robinson, Fran Tate, McCaskill is the last name, and Jonathan Perrone.
Joe Rappers. You can hold the mic on, Mike. Listen, I done heard all this. I've been following this for 32 weeks too, and beyond. And I've been to every meeting you've been to. And I've talked to you and others. And here's the bottom line. It takes 8 votes. All this talking, everything's great. Everybody's all for it, but it boils down to 8 individuals. Vote from the county, vote from the city. Sports Authority. We're just waiting for this to go, see what happens. But this is my question with that said. If we agree with your proposal tonight and everything you put out here, what can we do to convince our elected officials to support the development at Hillsborough College in the city of Tampa? What can we do? You know, you're asking us, we're asking you to do what you say, you communicate. What can we do? We got 4 votes we need, and I can count them. Okay, I can count votes real good in this town. I think you got 4. You might have 3.5 on another spot, but I think you got 4 and 4. So what do we need to do if we all want this to happen? Because I've checked you out, and everybody know I check everybody out in this town. You guys are gonna do what you say you're gonna do. I agree with that. But until we get 4 votes, ain't nothing gonna happen. Ain't nothing gonna happen. So we need to find out what can we do to get 4 votes. Because I think I see 2 in here, but I don't see 8. And that's the problem. That's all I want to ask you. What can we do?
Thank you for being here, Joe. We appreciate it. Round of applause for Joe. Joe Robinson sits on our Tampa Sports Authority board and has been a devoted public citizen and outspoken supporter of the work we're doing, and appreciate you being here tonight. Being an elected official is hard, and I'm not going to speak for Commissioner Myers or Councilwoman Young, but they walk into work every day, whether it be in City Hall or in our county administration building, and I've spent a lot of time, as you can imagine, the last few weeks in those buildings. And they weigh a lot of tough decisions, and they have to meet the needs of their constituents. They got to where they are because people believed in commitments they made by voting, because people believed that they would do the right thing for the community. They're not in those seats by accident. They're there because they deserve to be there, because the community chose for them to be there. And that's exactly how the system is supposed to work. And so they will properly vet our plan. They will listen to the community as the questions come in, and you can feel the support in the room. But ultimately, it will be on them to press the yes button, to press yes for Tampa Bay.
Oh, thank you. Oh, just a little bit. Good evening.
Yeah, good evening.
I am Fran Tate, president of the Jackson Heights Neighborhood Association and Community Safety Watch. I live in one of the minority neighborhoods. First of all, I want to say, Nicole, it is so good to see you, my sister, my queen. Thank you. My God. I want to tell you, if this project happens, you got the right one. Nicole was very instrumental in the Fair Oaks complex. The Penny Saver, that's all I gotta say, the Penny Saver. Any of you all know about that project and the Penny Saver store? It was you, Nicole, took care of that situation, and I thank you for that. My question, my comment, oftentimes there is a big breakdown in communication within the minority communities relating to jobs. My concern is, how will you notify our communities all over the Tampa Bay area of jobs available at the stadium? We need the communication. And you know, Nicole, we have several platforms that you're gonna need to tap into to let us know, hey, there are jobs available at the stadium.
Thank you, Ms. Tate, thank you. You know I have a soft spot for you. We've done a lot of work together, and I appreciate the question. And so, yes, ma'am. We know that if we are going to really do the work, that we have to meet people where they are, right? And whatever communication, however they receive their communication, whether it's through the email list that you have in the newsletters that some of the neighborhood associations have, but actually going to the CAC meetings, going to the different meetings and making sure that our community leaders, our neighborhood watch folks, that they know when things are going to be available, when we have job fairs, and making sure that we over communicate that and not taking for granted that people already know because it was on the TV. We're committed. one thing you know about me, if I give you my word, you can take that to a check and you can cash it. And so we're going to do what we say we're going to do. We're going to meet the community where they are in whatever mode of communication that may be, whether it's sending it by pigeon mail, however, door hangers, we're going to make sure that it happens.
Thank you for joining us. Yep.
Jonathan Perone and, oh, come on up.
Keela McCaskill.
Yes, Keila, come on up.
Good evening, thank you. My name is Keila McCaskill, and I might have missed it, but I looked through the presentation, and what I was looking for was, in my mind, being a native in this city, the only way it will happen is a partnership with a transportation, some type of transportation. I didn't see HART. So I'm not sure how much effort or commitment it is to try and find a transportation partner. So before I go to constituents as a community advocate, before I go to elected officials, I was hoping that in addition to the major issues that it solves, that transportation would be one. That's a better fighting tool than the other things that's there. So I just want to know what else can you do to try to find a transportation partnership to add to the other things that you're offering?
It's a great question, and I think part of why we do these community sessions and why we're here is to make sure we're not missing anything, right? You know, I always, my father always sort of said growing up, you don't know what you don't know. And such a critical part of this process is being out here and saying, we don't know what we don't know. And if there's things in the plan that you think we're missing, you know, we think we've spent a lot of time on traffic and road infrastructure, and we've talked tonight about multimodal, we've talked about light rail, we've talked about our desires to be able to improve our bus paths and making sure that not only in the development but throughout the community that the buses are going to the right place and giving people the accessibility and affordability to be able to get where they need to go in our community. And finding that transportation partner is a critical part of that. And so I'd say if there's things that you think that we missed, this is the place to do it. Bring it. Send me that email, ken@raysbaseball.com. I'll give you my cell phone. You can call me, right? I want to hear how we can get this right. You know, our whole comms team just totally freaked out when I said that, by the way. The truth is, from time to time, you miss things. I sat in a community meeting I watched in Jacksonville, just up the road, as the city council had to make a really tough decision on the future of the Jacksonville Jaguars NFL football stadium. And people wondered, where are the Jaguars going to stay in Jacksonville? And I actually attended the community meetings. Little did I know that I'd find myself up on a stage one, you know, a few years later. And somebody mentioned at the community meeting, this is great. I love that you shared this to the CEO of the team, but you totally missed rideshare. What is that experience going to be like for people who want to take Uber and Lyft? We've all taken Uber and Lyft to a Lightning game or a Bucks game, and I think you'd agree the rideshare experience is not that great. Nothing against those teams. Those stadiums and that arena were built before Uber was even around. People weren't Ubering when they built those places. So programs like rideshare have to be a critical component on the front end to make sure that we have the drop-off and pickup locations, not like 2 miles down Del Mabry, but right out front. And so as we lean in with Kimley Horn and our traffic partners, those are the kinds of things we're thinking about. So something like rideshare comes out of a community meeting like this, and all of a sudden our team says, boy, somebody came to the meeting tonight, was concerned about this, and we took action to it. So I appreciate you being here.
I just wanted to confirm that HART is part of the conversations. We're actually very excited because they already currently serve the college. And so we actually have planned to meet with them in the next couple of weeks. So just wanted to make sure.
Yep. Thank you, Kim.
Thank you for my time. I did get the 1998 deal to join the ticket list, so I am waiting for that call from Brett Phillips.
Yep. Fantastic. We can make that happen.
Okay. But my question really was more, the comment is more on the framework on the stadium. So, you know, you were talking about being a child and remembering some things. And, you know, as a child, I remember, you know, we were talking about Fenway Park being the smallest park. This ballpark would make its own trivia question being the smallest park in MLB. So how did the Rays land on that? You know, as the people of Tampa, we want to make sure we get the best and biggest, I mean, maybe not biggest, but you understand what I'm saying. We don't want to be the smallest either, but this is what this is. And so how did you land on a stadium size of 31,000 and really also the cost of $2.3 billion, which is also might be up there in the record books too? I mean, I just want to say, I mean, I hope this does make everyone's dreams come true, like the community benefits and all that. So that's not the angle I'm going on this, but I just kind of curious to understand the size and the cost, how you guys landed on that.
Yep. Thank you for your question. I appreciate it. So the ballpark size is a great question because for decades, ballparks, and by the way, baseball, we say baseball's played in a ballpark. We're not building a stadium, we're building a ballpark. They play other sports in a stadium, right? So I think we're talking about potentially having the most intimate fan experience that you can possibly have for a sports venue. Our ballpark, and what we're talking about building, was approximately 30,000 seated capacity. Now, gone are the days of people that just sit there with their scorecard and score a game. And I've said this at a couple of community meetings, and she gets very embarrassed. My wife is one of those people that still scores baseball games, and I love her for it, by the way. I married the right woman. But I will tell you that people go to a ballpark for different social experiences. Some people want to hang out in the bars. Other people want to be able to go out on a date and just hang out with their buddies and engage while the game's going on and hang out and have a great time and pay that $10 ticket. And so as we're thinking about the design of the building, you want to create a ballpark that has something for everyone. Something for that hardcore baseball fan that is going to sit closer to the action than any ballpark in baseball. By the way, fully netted. I mentioned this last night and people said, won't fans get hurt? Tropicana Field this year for the first time is fan netted from foul pole to foul pole. Even since 1998, that had not occurred, and it's one of the first things our ownership group did because we care about fan safety. This new ballpark that we're talking about building, and I'll let you in on a little piece of the design, behind home plate, it'll be closer to home plate, the first row of seats, than the pitcher is to the catcher. You're talking about right in the action. You're talking about seats down the line that are affordable, that bring you within feet of the players. The opportunity to engage in a ballpark design that has unique experiences in neighborhoods. And so without totally saying it's going to be 31,000 feet or 31,000 seats or 34,000 seats, what we're focused in on is the experience for the baseball fan. That's what we're passionate about for folks that are coming to the ballpark. And we promise you this will be the best fan experience with our players closer to you than any team in baseball, and it's going to be awesome.
Well, for those who didn't have a chance to ask their question, I think we have one more. You still can fill out a card and we can make sure and get in touch with you, but come on up.
Come on up.
Good evening. Ernest Coney Jr., the CEO of the CDC of Tampa. Really excited to hear about the ballpark. I've been going to several meetings. This is a really great opportunity. The work that I do, we're a community development corporation. So part of the question is, how do you go from vision to true execution, especially when it comes to community benefits agreements and really having a rising tide for a lot of different people and organizations and neighborhoods, right? So part of the question is, like, when we talk about we're going to have small businesses that have spaces, we're going to have opportunities for adults to have working and workforce training. How do you make sure that you execute on that vision, that the most vulnerable people that have this once-in-a-lifetime opportunity also have an opportunity to take advantage of it? And And I also like to say, like, I would love to meet with you guys to really talk about how we can make sure that vision gets executed to perfection as well.
Thank you. Yeah.
So thank you, Ernest, for the question. A part of the execution and implementation part of the community benefits agreement, we're going to go once we have the community benefits committee seated. We are going to then work on an implementation plan. How do we make the Rays accountable for what's in the plan? And we're going to partner. There's certain parts of it that we'll partner with other nonprofits to do some of the implementation, other government agencies, DOT. There's a lot to the community benefits plan. And so partner with other agencies to do the implementation, execution, and keep track to hold us all accountable is how we're going to do it. So it's not just lip service. There's going to be a full circle so that we can do the work, track it, report on it, and show you what that ROI is for the investment, because it really is a community investment, and we're showing you what that return on the investment will be.
Yeah, it's really simple. One word for us: accountability. Hold us accountable. Make sure we do what we say we're going to do.
As we said all night, we want to stay in touch with you, so be sure to email. You can email Ken, or you can also email at foreverhome@raysbaseball.com. Follow us, of course, on our social channels, and new ballpark.raysbaseball.com has all the information that you'll find about our upcoming events and ways to stay in touch with us.
We're gonna do more of these events. This is the last for this week, but we're going to schedule more of these events over the course of the next few weeks. I would encourage you to stay engaged with the team. I would encourage you to reach out, and I'd really encourage you to stop by your public officials on the way out. And thank Commissioner Myers and Councilwoman Young for being here. It's an honor to be here with you all tonight, and go Rays. Thank you so much.
All right, this is Alan from the Alan Up for Sports Talk show. Just joined the Rays community event, and we're here to get some insight on it. So please give us your full name.
Ernest Coney Jr.
Okay, great, Ernest. And please tell us about this event and what are your first thoughts afterwards?
Yeah, it's just another great community engagement event where the Rays are coming out and really talk to the community about, obviously, the Rays, particularly coming to Tampa and building a stadium and what that really means. And the great opportunity is for us to really have a lot of dialogue around economic development, not just sports, but economic development, engines that help our communities grow, from small business opportunities once they build the park. And then, of course, when you start thinking about like the history of Tampa and our athletes, like having young folks to aspire to something great again, so we can have the next Dwight Gooden or Gary Sheffield coming right from Belmont Heights right here in East Tampa.
Yeah.
So it's a great opportunity all around.
Oh, yes, you're absolutely right. Got great talent. Gary Sheffield, as you mentioned. So in your thoughts, do you think this was going to come to fruition and we're going to get a stadium in Tampa?
Yeah, the good thing is that there's a lot of political power behind it, a lot of resources behind it, a lot of leadership. So we're not quite there yet, but all indications say that, with the governor saying that he really wants it, giving them 22 acres of land, resources into their budget. Now it's going to be up to the city council and the Board of County Commissioners to really figure out the last kind of pieces. But the Rays said they're ready to invest in their billion, but we're looking for the rest of it to put in.
Yes, and speaking of that, do you think the last part too, do you think the taxpayers are going to be okay with it too?
And it goes both ways, right? So some people are like, how does that benefit me? And some people understand like economic engines, right? So if you can imagine Chicago not ever having Michael Jordan, Chicago wouldn't have grown the way it did. We have seen that firsthand just from Tom Brady coming to Tampa and what those sport franchises mean. You think about the ice hockey team, Lightning, right? That you never would have thought in Tampa, Florida, we'd have a Lightning team, hockey team. What that engine has really meant for Channel Side and building up on the Channel Side. So you can imagine in Tampa, if the Rays come here in Tampa, having the Buccaneers Stadium right next to us, destination place, sports, stadiums, concerts, the whole nine. So it's a great economic opportunity.
Yes, and what do you think of Ken Babby's his vision about everything?
Yeah, they have a tremendous vision. My question really is like, I love the vision, but we got to get to the execution. I want to make sure we dot the I's and cross the T's to make sure that we have real economic opportunities, but people traditionally get left out of those type of opportunities.
And who do you think might have a chance of getting left out that we want to make sure doesn't get left out?
Yeah, so oftentimes, like if you're not a major client and you don't own your own large company, you miss out on opportunities when it comes to development. If you don't have a large restaurant, franchise name, you might miss out on opportunities. How do we begin to prepare people for the opportunities now so that when they come, they're right there, they're set and they're ready. So everyday people, you may be a baker, you may, have a small dream and a vision, but we want to be able to have micro spaces as well, to make sure that everyone has opportunity to take advantage of this fully.
Absolutely. And I think, what about the students at HEC? How do you think they will benefit?
And that's a great, right? So all those folks who are going through sports management, all the people who are going through, whatever degree that they're looking at, having the opportunity to work right there. And then you think about apprenticeships and summer jobs right there. You can walk from your classes and go right to your job within a short walking distance.
Yeah. So we're both praying that it goes through, that they get the stadium. What do you hope that the Rays do otherwise, as far as their team success?
I don't know how to do all the magic. It's a lot of intel that comes in. How do you build a team? Because, unfortunately, with baseball, like big market teams have a lot more money to spend. So we got to figure it out. Keep our talent from Tampa and the Florida region. Keep our talent, in the Bahamas and everywhere else in the Caribbean, to keep that talent right here in Florida, and we can figure out a way to win. And we guarantee, like, if you win, we're going to be there to cheer it on.
That's awesome. Thank you so much, Ernest, for joining the Allen Alford Sports Talk Show. Go Rays.
Go Rays.
That's right. Thank you. All right.